Merry Christmas and welcome to Healthy Living. Far too many Americans look at the holidays as one big all-you-can-eat contest. Health experts say that's no laughing matter because it can feed a sugar addiction and lead to lasting health problems. There are ways, however, to avoid this.
Ideally, we'd eat only a bite or two of decadent holiday foods, or just a sip of those high-calorie seasonal drinks. In reality, not so much.
The average American gains about 8 to 10 pounds from Thanksgiving until New Year's.
Health experts say the reason behind those extra pounds is a literal addiction to ingredients in today's holiday fare.
Although most medical doctors now fully recognize that foods can be addictive for some people, we don't have it as an actual medical diagnosis.
More than 60% of Americans are overweight, and food addiction specialist Dr. Nicole Avina blames sweeteners, especially when combined with the chemicals in processed foods. They hijack our minds, and this pattern can lead to heart disease, cancer, even Alzheimer's.
When people are consuming these types of foods over the course of a lifetime, they can gunk up the works in many ways, and that helps to decrease our cognitive functioning and, reduce our ability to, think clearly. And this gets more and more apparent as people get older.
After a 2-month feeding frenzy, it's really hard to kick the habit come January.
And what happens a few days into it, they start to feel like a headache and lethargic, and they start to feel irritable. That's sugar withdrawal. The majority of diets that end on January 5th or 6th are because people are experiencing that sugar withdrawal.
The good news is we can avoid becoming addicted to these foods during the holidays thanks to tips that are proven to work. Like, don't let yourself get too hungry because that's when we reach for this stuff.
Instead, drink lots of water. And it may sound strange, but eat a salad full of fresh vegetables before you head out to that holiday gathering. While there, focus on fellowship, not food.
If you're invited to a holiday event, you don't have to bring a dessert. You can bring something healthy that you want to eat so that way, if everyone's putting out their items on the table, you'll know that there's at least one thing that's healthy.
You also need to be on guard at work, so arm yourself with snacks like nuts, fresh fruit, or even a hard-boiled egg to guard against surprise attacks of holiday goodies in the office break room.
We can still scratch that holiday food and beverage itch by replacing traditional favorites with items that are almost as tasty, but with no regrets.
For example, peppermint tea instead of peppermint candy, dark chocolate instead of fudge, and chopped apple with granola instead of cookies.
It's all about the swaps, right? We don't want to deprive ourselves of anything, especially around the holidays. So it's really just about figuring out what it is that you like and then coming up with a healthier alternative.
Finally, make time for plenty of sleep, exercise, and prayer. Research shows these reduce the stress hormone that causes us to crave unhealthy foods. And weigh yourself daily. Studies show people who perform this simple reality check tend to eat less than those who don't.
According to experts, physical and mental health are closely tied to regular exercise. New research shows we really have no excuse when it comes to skipping those all-important workouts. While many Americans say they have no time to exercise, turns out we do. A new study from the Rand Corporation finds that Americans average more than 5 hours of free time each day, with men generally having a bit more free time than women. But instead of being physically active during their free hours, Americans report they spend most of that time looking at screens. So there is actually time to fit in all that exercise. The benefits include decreased risk of heart disease, diabetes, and some cancers, and improved mental health and weight management. Only about half of Americans meet the aerobic guidelines of 2.5 hours a week. Well, Christmas is a time of giving, and this practice is not only something advocated in the Bible, but in today's modern health centers as well. Turns out, overwhelming scientific evidence proves giving is good for your health, from preventing cancer and heart disease to building self-esteem.
The facts are clear. Givers live longer, happier, healthier lives. Studies show generosity triggers a number of significant changes, all of them good, both mentally and physically. Here at the world-renowned Cleveland Clinic, Dr. Michael McKee develops ways to enhance the inner healing response of patients.
There are tremendous health benefits to giving.
Stress leads to illness, and Dr. McKee says giving can reverse the deadly effects of stress. It doesn't matter whether you give time or money, or if it's to a loved one or complete stranger.
Well, we know that the giving tends to reduce blood pressure, slow heart rate. Again, giving reduces stress. It reduces depression.
Researchers from the National Institutes of Health studied MRIs of people who gave to various charities. They found generosity stimulates the reward center in the brain, releasing chemicals that strengthen our immune system.
And we know, again, that there's a release of endorphins. These are the kind of magical chemicals that come from various areas in the brain, and they flood throughout the system. They're cousins, basically, but some reduce pain, some kind of seek out sick-looking cells and exert a healing effect on them. They have many different positive effects.
Dr. Stephen Deutsch is the chairman of psychiatry at the Eastern Virginia Medical School. He says doctors commonly use giving in treating depression.
We encourage people to not be so self-absorbed and to think about others. We even tell people to practice being concerned and invested in other people.
He says the more people give, the easier it gets.
Sometimes they may feel initially that it's fraudulent, that's not really who they are, but over time, it becomes more and more comfortable for them, and it does have a powerful therapeutic effect.
So people who feel powerless or worthless find a new purpose and value by seeing their actions help others, and they tend to live longer and healthier lives.
Despite the health benefits, a new study has found that fewer Americans are giving to charity, down from 66% to 53%. That's a whopping 13% decrease since the year 2000. Baylor University researchers found very religious people of any faith are more likely to give to charity. However, studies show there are fewer religious people in the U.S., and the number of atheists and agnostics is increasing. The Pew Research Center found only 65% of Americans describe themselves as Christian, which is down 12 percentage points since 10 years ago. Well, when you receive that Christmas present, hopefully you'll feel gratitude, because as it turns out, that emotion can lead to some very positive health outcomes. The story when we come back.
On the home front. Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
On the Home Front, Tuesday morning at 10:30.
If you want to be an attorney with a passion for serving people and for excellence, Regent University needs to be high on your list.
Regents award-winning law school doesn't just create lawyers. We create leaders, judges, prosecutors and defense lawyers, civil litigators, and leaders in government.
My focus has been trying to really make sure we have the future leaders we need for the bench and the bar and for society generally.
You'll learn from highly credentialed leaders who are current and former judges, distinguished scholars, and ACLJ counsel.
I'm so glad I chose Regent. The relationships here have been amazing. The faculty have been amazing. Not everybody's called to the same thing when they leave law school, but they're called by a God who has a purpose for their lives, and He is going to use that education to make a difference in the world.
Regent will prepare you to be a purpose-driven, practice-ready lawyer. To start your rewarding law career, complete the online application, submit your transcripts, and take the law school admissions test by July. Apply today.
The Christmas season has changed over the years into a far too stressful time of year. Experts say getting back to the reason we celebrate Christmas, gratitude for the greatest gift of all, will improve our spiritual and our physical health.
For thousands of years, Scripture has been very clear. Give thanks. And now health experts are saying the same thing.
Studies have shown that people with a more grateful disposition actually engage in more exercise. They eat healthier. They take care of themselves better by getting regular physical examinations. It's also been shown to be helpful with people who are having some kind of physical ailment, actually reduce negative health symptoms and increase sleep.
The research is clear. Grateful people handle adversity better, experience less PTSD, clinical depression, and anxiety. As a bonus, taking this extra step can help your family and friends.
Research is showing more and more that the quality of our relationships has a tremendous impact on the quality of our health. And gratitude actually has been shown to help improve the quality of one's relationship.
Most people aren't naturally grateful. That's why here at Revive Our Hearts Ministry, they actually teach people how to cultivate an attitude of gratitude.
Nancy Lee DeMoss leads the ministry, which includes a nationally broadcast radio program. She says gratitude starts with telling God, "You don't owe me anything good."
All I deserved was hell. And you've given me so much more than that. You've given me heaven and eternal life in Christ Jesus and your Holy Spirit. Oh, Lord, if you never gave me anything else good in this life than having saved me eternally from sin, I am one blessed woman, and I will spend all of eternity giving you thanks.
Nancy says developing this spirit is like building muscle. It takes work.
Gratitude it's supposed to be a lifestyle. It's a habit. And unfortunately, it gets eclipsed by bad habits, the whining, the complaining, the murmuring, the pointing out things that we wish were different. But we can change that as we lift our eyes upward off of our circumstances and say, Lord, you are amazing. Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good, for His steadfast love endures forever.
In her book, Choosing Gratitude, Nancy recommends making Thanksgiving a priority for an entire month. Also, keep a journal, writing down all blessings, big and small.
And I found that discipline helped me to be conscious of, mindful of things that otherwise I might have forgotten. I might not have noticed. And I think that's why Psalm 103 says, forget not all His benefits.
And while you have your pen out, write thank you letters to people who've blessed you.
It can be emails, it can be texts, and I do it that way too. But I try to write some old-fashioned, longhand thank you notes to say, I'm so grateful that you thought of me, for your kindness, for what you invested in me. And you'll find that if you write that kind of note, you'll probably shock some people because it's so rare today.
And don't stop there. Express Thanksgiving out loud several times a day.
We're much better at saying, what we wish we had, what we have that we wish we didn't have, rather than saying thank you to God and to others for what we do have.
So for better health, make a conscious effort to give thanks, a lot of it every day. It's not easy, but well worth the effort.
When we come back, you probably have one in your area, an amazing Christmas light display that draws people from all over. We'll show you one of those and tell you the story behind it when we come back.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN Newswatch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN Newswatch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
Yes, right on time.
From Superbook.
Pepper's Pizza Palace is donating pizza for everyone today. Wait. I have big plans today.
Trust in God even when times are tough. He has a plan for your life.
Hey, we're gonna be late for the grand opening.
My parents want me to help with this outreach thing, feeding the community. What am I supposed to do here? Superbook!
Join the Superbook Club and get Superbook The Birth of Moses, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25.
Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys thrown into the Nile River, and I have a 3-month-old brother.
The Birth of Moses. Yours for a gift of only $25.
What will you do the next time the soldiers come? I do not know, but I trust God has a plan for all of us.
Superbook Club members, free streaming for seasons 1, 2, and 3 is now available.
Well, earlier we talked about the health benefits of minimizing stress this time of year and staying away from the holiday goodies. Well, one inexpensive way to do both is to pile into the car and drive around enjoying the many ways people decorated their homes. Sometimes folks go a little overboard with their light displays as a way to show love to their community. Here's an example.
Tucked away in the outskirts of Chesapeake, Virginia, is a Christmas show you can't miss. The Holt Family Lights.
We literally will have people that come down the street every night with their kids, and they do not miss a night. And they'll tell us, hey, you make our season. You are a stop that we have to come to.
It's a tradition that started with his father, Preston.
Christmas has always been big in our family. From the time I was knee-high, everybody used to put lights out. When Alan was about 12 is when we really started the inflatables.
Hey, I need to finish decorating mine.
When Alan moved into his first home at 18, he carried on the tradition by starting his own holiday display.
That first year, I probably bought 10, 15 strands of lights, and I thought, okay, I did the bushes, and then after Christmas, I think I got close to 300 or 400 boxes of lights, and the next year, I started lining the house. It grew from the little tiny 10 boxes of lights to what you see now.
These days, Alan doesn't just decorate. He produces a light show with a snow machine, dozens of inflatable characters, and 70,000 LED lights. It's a process that takes 2 weeks to set up and months to plan.
For me, Christmas is a year-round thing. You're creating a lot of your props and a lot of your other stuff, doing your arches and everything else. We do that throughout the year. I'm sitting there in June and July programming Christmas songs.
And right by his side, eager to help, is his daughter, Callie.
We get to climb ladders and it's fun. And I get to put up the inflatables. Daddy, how do I get this undone? Daddy, the husky needs help. Daddy, this guy's falling over on me.
On weekend nights, she also manages her own snack and cocoa stand her grandfather has dubbed Callie's Concessions. And every cent she makes goes directly to charity.
To teach her the meaning, it's not about always receiving, but also giving. It makes me very proud to have her out there.
It makes me happy because a lot of people need money to buy stuff for their children.
The Holts have attracted thousands of admirers over the years, and they say it's those smiles that keep them going.
Just to see all the people, the crowd, the kids, the joy.
We actually had a guy that he would come by every single night and he would take a selfie in front of my display. And so I got to talking to him one night, and his wife was battling cancer and she couldn't get out of bed. And so every night he would come down to the display, take a picture, and some nights take a video and take it back to her because it was something that she looked forward to. And, you know, it's those kind of stories. It makes it worthwhile.
For the Holt family, this season is all about joy, and they can't think of a better way to celebrate the real meaning of Christmas.
Christmas is a time not just for gifts, but a time to remember why we're celebrating Christmas.
The birth of Jesus, that's what it's all about.
When we come back, we'll show you some more inexpensive ideas for family fun this Christmas.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
From Washington, D.C., uncompromising stories, interviews, and analysis from veteran journalists David Brody.
Escalating fight.
Jenna Browder.
Chose his words carefully.
Ben Kennedy.
Plan to join him.
And Amber Strong.
For impeachment grows a little bit louder.
Bringing you the political news that matters.
We get out and tell the story of the progress that we're making in this country.
Watch Faith Nation, weeknights at 6 on the CBN News Channel.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
As the nations rage, you can stand with Israel.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
Call 1-800-700-7000 and get to life.
This is our nature as a country.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is, this is what I'm doing.
Support Israel in their time of need. Get to Life, now available on DVD. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com.
And I wish that other people throughout the world could see this side of Israel.
Christmas movies are a great way to get into the holiday mood. There are classic stories that warm the heart of every member of the family year after year. There are also new movies aiming to become classics. CBN's Ephraim Graham has a look at a few of the films you can find streaming right now.
And help me to sponge away the writing on this stone if I repent. And I do repent, I do repent.
Ebenezer Scrooge in the Charles Dickens classic A Christmas Carol begins our look at 5 streaming holiday films. There are quite a few modern remakes of this movie available now on Hulu.
God bless us, everyone.
The interesting thing is it's on surface, it's all fun and roaring fires and horse chestnuts and snow and dancers and blind man's buff, but the genius of Dickens is that he transcends all that, and it's really about being a human being and finding out what it is to be a human being and how you can share the world a little bit. And I think that's why it resonates, that's why still that book gets sold in its millions around the world.
Filmmaker Bharat Nalluri turns the page on the classic tale.
Why Christmas?
Why not?
Does anybody really celebrate it anymore, apart from our clerk?
With The Man Who Invented Christmas, it's the story behind Dickens' best-selling book, now streaming on Amazon.
Did you approach this as an adventure story in terms of how you wanted it told?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is an adventure story. It's you know, people always forget it's a bit of science fiction. You know, it's a man who goes back, and it's Back to the Future. It's a man who goes back in time and meets himself and becomes a better person for it. And it's just, it was the first time it was ever done, 1843. I mean, no one had done it before. Even The Time Machine hadn't been written by H.G. Wells. No one had even had that. And so, for me, it's a great rollicking adventure. It always has been.
Humbug.
What is?
Christmas.
What about it?
Well, I mean, what is it but an excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December?
And we now move from The Man Who Invented Christmas to...
Hang on! Cyrus! Down up!
I expected a left turn 2 deserts ago.
These wise guys are lost. That's it. I'm fighting through the rains.
You might call this the greatest story never told. The Star gives us a look at the very first Christmas through the eyes of the animals.
You jump out and create a distraction.
Hey!
It's a story we've heard so many times, and so if it was going to be worth making a movie about this at all, we had to find a way to present it in a fresh way. And that's where we decided to tell the story from the point of view of the animals.
Animator Timothy Record directs the film, and the star-packed cast of voices.
It's the wise men.
Hide quickly.
The
other left.
Deborah, are you okay?
Including Tyler Perry, Tracy Morgan, and Oprah Winfrey as camels.
The new king's in danger.
Run for your life!
Get out of the way!
The Star is streaming now on Netflix.
You ever feel like he's trying to talk to us?
Gina Rodriguez is the voice of Mary.
Where do you go to play an animated Mother of Jesus? Where do you research?
There you go. Yeah, I mean, where do you research? You know, I grew up with a nativity story. So I am very aware of the story, like it's ingrained in me.
Alongside The Star, Netflix is also streaming new and original holiday films.
So I figured if you donate your old toys, I'll deliver them for free.
Tonight.
In Klaus, a klutzy postman sets out to deliver toys to children who've written touching letters to a rather reclusive toy maker.
He does, through his actions, get these people who all were so hating of each other to be like, hey, why do we hate each other? Why are we fighting all these years? And we're just the same. We're the same. We're all, and I think that's, to me, what it's all about.
And there's Holiday in the Wild, starring Rob Lowe and Kristen Davis, and an endless sea of animals.
You are coming home, right?
This year it's going to be Christmas in Africa.
What is Christmas in Africa?
Well, I can't speak for the whole continent, but here at the Elephant Orphanage, they celebrate all week, and there's no shopping involved.
This movie has all of the classic, you know, hallmarks of those romantic, you know, movies, and you know, you have to start with them not liking it. This was the hardest acting I had to do.
Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Healthy Living. Thanks for joining us, and have a Merry Christmas.